Welcome back everyone to our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 19. So I decided we could do something a little bit different in today's video because we are all set here on the farm. All of our horses are trained to 100% for the day. They don't need any food or water. If we come in here and look, everybody's fully trained. We've got tons of food, water, and straw, so no issues there. And if I come back over to our oats field, everything is growing 100% fertilized, no weeds there yet. I'm sure we're going to see some a little bit later. And then, of course, over on field number 2, we are still looking at the grass that is in various stage of growing. So we're all caught up on our work here on the farm. So let's do something a little bit different. Let's come in and take a look at the contracts, and one in particular that I really wanted to do. So as I scroll through here, you'll notice that there are all sorts of different jobs, anything from baling hay to harvesting, plowing, cultivating, you name it. And then of course, some transporting jobs as well. And in each one of these situations, you can decide to bring your own equipment and do the job, or you can lease the equipment that is shown on the screen, and this equipment will show up at the storefront, and you will have to pick it up from there and transport it out to whatever field you're going to be working on. Of course, if you lease the equipment, it's going to reduce the amount of money you're going to get. But for us, it's not really about the money here. It's about some different experiences, getting to do some things that we haven't gotten to do yet. And one of those things is harvesting cotton. I haven't got to do any work with cotton, so I'm very interested to see how this works. So we're going to click on this one. And now my tendency is to mess up and just accept the contract. Well, the problem with that is we don't have everything we need that we own to do this. So we need to lease the items. And that starts the progress. And you can see there's really no timer to worry about, as you've seen in previous games where you have to worry about a certain time limit. Now we don't have to worry about that. We just need to go to the storefront and then pick up our equipment and head to field 14 for now. All right, so actually let's come back in here and take a look at the map. So the storefront we know is down here. Okay, field 14 is right over in this area, so we'll have to figure out how in the world we're going to get to it. Because this looks like that could be around the world. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the shop, visit the shop, and we should see, yes, we should see some equipment out here. So we've got a little bit of a drive. And so let's see, I think we're actually going to have to go around this way. So if we, wow, this is just going to be, there's just no easy way to get here. We could always, now I'll tell you what, we can always go by the animal dealer and just sort of work our way across, maybe right here. Okay, I like that idea better. Let's go ahead and go over by the animal dealer. Now this thing, how fast will it go when it's not working? Looks like 15 miles an hour, so it's going to take us a few minutes to get there, but that's okay. We'll get to see and enjoy the scenery along the way. Or at least I will. I'm going to cut away the video here, and we'll come back as soon as I make it to the field. All right, so here we're going by the animal dealer, crossing the railroad tracks, and we are now looking at field number 14. So let's work our way around the sign here, and then we're going to cut through the bushes and try to get ourselves lined up. So not a very large field. And before we get started, let's actually go ahead, since we don't have to worry about a timer per se, let's go back in and see exactly what we're dealing with here. So field 14, so we've made it there. We need to harvest the cotton and then take the product to the spinnery. And the spinnery, okay, is going to be down here. So it looks like that's not too terribly far from field 14. And in fact, given the size of this field, it was how big? 0.78 hectares. So that's not large. We might be able to just drive the harvester down there, but we'll see how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and unfold the harvester. Wow, looks like we've got there the sort of the bale of cotton will come out the back there. All right, let's lower the harvester. There we go. Get that down and ready to go. This is a very menacing looking machine here, no doubt. Okay, so you see we do have an option to hire a worker. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm actually going to turn on the harvester, and this is going to be an interesting one to work with. All right, you can see we're totally not going with the rows as the way the machine is designed. We're going to try to follow the outline of the field here rather than worry about the rows. All right, and so far, so good. This is very hard because the machine is so tall. It's hard to get a good angle other than the top-down view to really make sure you're going the right direction and not missing anything. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. Very nice. You can see the lovely cotton there. All right, so as we work our way to the end of the field, let's actually come back to the outside view for a moment. And let's see how well this thing turns. Oh, wow, a very nice turning radius. Look at that. I was able to spin this thing around without really losing any time at all. Let's go ahead and get back inside. Yeah, I can't really see everything I need to see from inside here. I'm a little worried we're going to miss some stuff. The good news is with these contracts, if they're anything like in previous games, and my testing so far has shown that they do appear to be, is they are very lenient about you completing the contract, meaning we're not going to have to work 100% of this field in order to receive our reward. Probably somewhere around 85 to 90% is all we're going to have to do in order to get the full amount from this contract. Also, keep an eye on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Let's see. Let's spin this thing around. This is very disconcerting inside here. Can't see at all where I'm going. All right, let's get this guy going in approximately the right direction again. Yeah, there we go. Feels like I'm missing something on the left-hand side, so let's move over a little bit. I think we're getting it all. But you can see we are not filling up this harvester very quickly at all. A lot of weeds in this field, so we could have used some help with the herbicide or the weeder, either one. But yeah, we are at just under 1,800 cotton so far, and that is nowhere near the capacity for this. So my guess is that we're going to be able to easily complete this and then actually take the harvester over to the spinnery without ever having to go and pick up the other equipment that we leased. Spin this sucker back around. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to have to purchase a field in the future and plant some cotton because this is quite a bit of fun to drive. I have no idea the steps it will take to raise cotton. I mean, we see that the stalks are still left here. So we'll have to see how that all works because I haven't gotten into cotton, but given the fun that we're having driving this thing around, this is quite a bit of fun. This isn't your normal harvester from my perspective. This is quite a bit more fun, especially given the turning radius that we're dealing with. And I also must admit it's kind of fun that we're not following the rows as you would generally do in this harvester. It's kind of fun that we're making sort of an odd pattern through the field. Just adds a little bit to the fun element for me. All right, let's go ahead and stop this guy and look at that steering wheel turn. Let's get turned around, and I think, let's see, can we get all of this? I believe we can. And of course, at any time, let's go ahead and pull up the menu again. And you can see at any time we can check our progress. We're currently at 29%. And it also lets you know what you still have left to do. So we still got a lot of cotton left to get on this field. And then it's reminding us that we still need to take it to the spinnery as well. So the question is going to become, if we're able to drive this harvester over to the spinnery then and unload, is it going to sell directly, or are we going to need a forklift of some sort to deal with this? It's going to be interesting to see what the cotton looks like. Does it come out on a standard pallet, or is it more like a hay bale, or what's the deal? The fun of a new crop in a new game. All right, here we go. Let's spin this thing around. So much fun to drive this thing. So it doesn't go very fast. You can see we're not breaking any land speed records, but this is quite a bit of fun. We're just over 3,400 cotton right now in the harvester. 6 miles an hour, I must admit, feels quite a bit faster than 6 miles an hour in this thing. But this is quite a bit of fun, especially from this particular view inside the cockpit. This is very nice. If I remember, we'll actually take a look around the cockpit before we get out of this thing, just to take a look around. Let's see, do we get everything? I think we got everything. Let's run over some of these bushes. Never been a big fan of all these bushes that are around. Ooh, turn, turn, turn. There we go. And we'll be on our way. Again, making an odd pattern across the rows. Yeah, this is something you really need to try if you have the game. Cotton is quite a bit of fun. And as far as I know, this is the only harvester that is available for cotton. I could be wrong on that, and of course I'm sure we're going to have some modded versions come out later on. But as far as I know, this is the only harvester of cotton currently in the game. But again, double check that in the storefront. And of course, we will be doing the same thing if and when we finally get around to growing our own cotton here in the game. But for right now, I'm just having quite a bit of fun doing this work, and I'm really not even concerned with how much they're paying me to do this. This is more like a weekend outing where you get to have some fun. And also, as we get toward the end of the field here, I am going to try to line this thing up and actually go down a row properly at some point. But with this oddly shaped field, I just could not resist the temptation to just take off in an odd pattern. All right, let's turn this thing around. Again, it basically turns itself completely around with a very, very small turning radius. All right, not a very loud sound coming from the combine, as is normally indicative of these machines in the game. They generally don't overwhelm you with the volume of the engine while inside the cab, which is understandable. Gives you just enough to know it's there, and then the rest is all about the visual and the controls. So look at that. Not very much room between these two fields, but we managed to get through there no problem. And now that we're sort of going downhill, it's only 6 miles an hour, but I swear this feels like about 20 miles an hour as we're coming down through here. Because I'm trying to make sure by watching the edge that we're not missing anything. And so far, so good on that front. If we've missed anything, it hasn't been too much. All right, here we go. Let's run over some more bushes. And we're having a hard time turning around. We must be stuck on a bush. There we go. But I've been doing this entire thing. I've not yet turned off the harvester when we got to an end of a row or anything, just to try to keep things going at as quick a pace as we can. But this is, once again, a fairly small field. And with this harvester, you can see we're going to be lucky to make it to halfway full. So that gives you an idea of just how much land you could work before you actually need to unload the cotton from this thing. Also, you notice that pop up on the screen. that lets us know that we can't work any other fields with this particular harvester because it is leased for the purposes of the contract only. So we don't get to keep it afterwards and use it for free. This equipment will disappear back to the shop whenever we actually finish and complete our task. All right, here we go. Once again, let's run over some bushes. Get stuck on the bushes. It was so nice of them to put those bushes so close. And now we're back off and running. If I owned this field like this in real life, the first thing I would do is get rid of all those bushes over to the side. Do a little landscaping work along the field just to make things as easy on yourself as possible. All right, so with very little room between fields, we can spin this thing right around. And oh, look out. There we go. Now we're off and running. All right, now coming up on 6,900 cotton so far. But again, this is just something to keep in mind as a frame of reference for later on. Or, you know, if you're trying to decide if you want to work with some cotton, this will give you an idea of how much cotton you get per hectare of land. Because this is, I believe, 0.78, if I remember that correctly. And so out of that 0.78, we have gotten a little over 7,100 to this point. All right, at this point I'm fighting an urge to go ahead and start going with the rows. But before we actually get this thing going again, let's check our percentage. Okay, so we're at 80% progress. So again, I don't estimate that this thing is going to require us to do the entire field. But we might want to do the entire field just for the fun of it. All right, let's go ahead and line this thing up here and try to do an actual row as best I can anyway. Okay, that's probably about as close as I can get it. That's pretty good on line. Yeah, a little less disconcerting whenever you're doing it that way. At least visually. All right, so we'll go ahead and spin this thing around, see if we can catch it. Oh, look at that. This thing is very easy to overturn because it steers so easily. All right, so we're sort of butchering this row. And let's see what kind of information we got on this screen over here. Bale counters, pick instance, weight counter, so all sorts of stuff. And oh wow, look at this. We are almost done. So let's go ahead and work this last little bit. And okay, I think that's it. So 80% done, yes. So you can see it did not give us any additional progress. So the additional 20% it's waiting for is for us to deliver this cotton. So let's go ahead and turn off the harvester and lift this thing. I don't want to fold it yet because we need to unload the bale. But actually, I don't want to unload it here. I actually think we can get by with just carrying this thing straight over to the spinnery. So let's plot our course. I think we'll be able to come right down through here and do that, if I can remember that. Let's blow up our map just a little bit to try to help me out. Where is... Let's see, right over here somewhere, I think there is a road. If we can find it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so which way do we need to go? I cannot see that map well enough to tell. Okay, so we actually need to go right. Good news is we can spin this thing around really quickly. And now I believe we need to go off to the left. Yeah, here we go. Now I think we've got it. If I can keep it on the road here, I think we'll be okay. All right, do we need to go... All right, let's stop this thing here because I can't once again see the map good enough to tell. Yes, we need to head in this direction and then take the first road to our right. And let's go ahead and reduce that map because it's not really being all that helpful to me anyway. So now I'm looking for the road that appears to be right here. Wow, these are some tight country roads that we're trying to get down right now. There we go. Now it's going to open up a little bit for us, and now we can see the spinnery in the distance. So I think we're going to be going in the back way, I believe. Oh, look out. Don't hit. Oh, this is way too close. Yikes. This road certainly was not made for this device. It really doesn't look like it was made for anything bigger than a four-wheeler, quite frankly. But we're going to off-road our way through here. Made ever more dangerous by the fact that we are inside the cab for all of this. All right, we're coming around to the back, and now we can turn in. And I believe the drop-off point is, there it is. I see the markers just up ahead. Okay, so now let's swap to the outside. So there's our marker that we need to drop the cotton. So I'm going to try and just simply do an unload of the bale. And let's get up toward the front here. Okay, let's get this thing stopped. And I'm going to press the Y key to unload the bale. And here we go. There's our cotton coming right out of the back there. And okay, so it sold it. As soon as it got out close to the ground, it looks like it completed it. Let's check. Okay, so we're completed. We got our money, or at least we will get our money. A little over $1,000. So as soon as we hit complete here, I would imagine it's going to get rid of that equipment. And yes, our equipment is gone. Let's pull up the map and actually go back over to the shop just to make sure. And yes, it's all disappeared. So really, you don't have to bring anything back to the store to turn it in or anything. Just complete your task and then complete the contract on the contract screen, and you're all good. So now let's take a look real quickly and see if we got time for one more. I want to keep it on a smaller field. Really don't want to work like field 8. I'm guessing is one of the bigger fields. Yes, it is the biggest field, so we don't want to mess with that one. Plus, that's fertilizing there, so we need to buy some fertilizer. All right, so what do we have? Fertilizing, cultivating. Okay, this is a nice one we could do. Let's see what else we've got. Fertilizing, spraying, plowing, harvesting. What kind of harvesting do we have? Wheat and barley, and then we got baling. Okay, I like this cultivating one. Let's go ahead and do this one again. We're not going to make very much money, particularly after we lease the equipment we need, but again, that's not really why we're doing it. 0.71 hectares on field 19. Where is field 19? Oh, it is way over here by the area that they really prefer you to start in. Okay, so we'll do that. And let's go ahead and I almost hit accept contract again. We do not have a cultivator and don't really need one right now. So let's go ahead and lease the items. We'll head over and take a quick look at these guys, see what they look like. That is a very menacing looking machine. So let's hop in our tractor and then we'll hook up the weight and then the cultivator, and then we'll actually cut the video here, and then we'll be back here in just a moment. Let's get, oh, going the wrong direction there. All right, so I'm going to head over to field number 19, and we'll be back in a moment. All right, so we've made our way over to the field. Looks like we got some trees in very close proximity to where we're going to be working. That's generally not a good idea, particularly if you have AI workers. All right, let's go ahead and unfold our cultivator and see exactly how big this thing is. Okay, not terribly wide there. Let's try to get lined up. So we're here at field 19. And Can't really see very much of anything. And we need to lower. And we should be off and running. There we go. So this, again, is not a huge field. Certainly on a slope, you can see our tool is sort of struggling to go straight as opposed to a little bit downhill. A little bit of a dog walk through here. But again, this field probably looks familiar to a lot of people, as this is where the game wants you to start off and gives you quite a bit of room to place buildings within it. And actually, it's an area that I will probably eventually come down here and purchase myself. Oh, look out. Yeah, we really need to get rid of these trees. They're making it very hard for me to see. Alright, let's go ahead and lower this thing back down. And looks like we're going to... No, we didn't miss anything there. And once again, our equipment is going to be all over the place. But I actually don't mind this. This is nice because gives you an idea of being able to see just what kind of a slope we're working with here. This is certainly not an area where you would want to place anything, because wow, the expenses would probably be extraordinary to flatten out an area here and work with the terrain. Alright, there we go. Let's go ahead and try to spin this thing around. And yeah, it's going to work just fine without lifting it up. So we'll be off and running again at about 10 miles an hour. Wow, this thing is moving me all over the place. But again, this actually adds to the fun and lets you know that yes, you are on a slope and there is some ground response. As you can see, we'll zoom in a little bit here. And you can actually get a glimpse of our tractor as it moves around and struggles for some grip. Alright, now not a whole lot of room to turn around right here, so we're going to do the best we can. And try to see through the trees. And there we go. Now, just for fun, let's swap to the inside camera, the cockpit camera. And I have no idea how good of a job we're doing without spinning all the way around and seeing. Hopefully we're doing okay. I guess we'll find out when we get to the end of the field and turn around. Alright, let's turn around and okay, not too bad it looks like. I was at least fairly close to being where I needed to be. Alright, let's go ahead and spin this thing around. Nice shadows that you can see on the hood out there, and reflections. Trying to stay fairly close to the edge over here just to make sure that we don't miss anything, and if we do miss something, hopefully it'll be minor. But yeah, a very small field compared to what we've been working with. Certainly great starter fields if you want to go that route. I've got a feeling we missed some right there on the edge. That's alright, we'll keep going. Actually, did we not miss anything? I find that hard to believe because I felt like we were a little bit too far away from the edge over there in order to get everything, but looks like we did okay. Yeah, there you can see the ground response as we have to work our way over the contour of the field itself. Definitely adds an extra bit of realism to the game. I know there are mods that will take this to the next level and beyond, but for our purposes, this is a nice level of feedback and visual stimulus that really lets you know that you're working on a field and you're working on a slope. All right, so we are just over halfway done. And this hasn't taken all that long at all to do. We're not going to be making a whole lot of money for it, but it is certainly fun to work on some of these other fields, and it gives us an opportunity to get on these fields and sort of get into the area of the map, see new areas of the map, and decide, okay, where might we want to expand next. But I could certainly see us purchasing this, and this would probably be a very good area to work some cotton, as it's a fairly small area and some smaller fields, and would keep it much more manageable, at least until there are some larger harvesters that can work a wider area and that kind of thing. But yeah, the smaller fields would probably be a very good idea for the cotton at the very beginning. Unless, of course, you want the AI to work the entire thing for you, in which case you really don't have to worry about it. You can just turn them loose and let them handle it. All right, so it looks like we'll finish up this pass, and then one more pass should finish off the field. Actually, I'm curious. So 93%. Okay, so we're not quite at 100%, but again, it just gives you an idea that and letting you know that the game is not expecting you to get literally 100% of, in every square meter of the field. It's going to give you quite a bit of leeway on these contracts. All right, and let's try to spin around. Yikes, do we have enough room? Just barely. Okay, I want to check on... Yes, all right, so it shows that we're completed, but we're going to go ahead and run this last little bit here. But again, just showing you that you don't really have to fully complete the field in order to get the reward. But of course, we're going to go ahead and do that. So now they've got a nicely cultivated field. And I would assume that the next contract for this particular field will be a planting or seeding. All right, there we go. Let's hop back outside. Make sure we get all the way to the end. We'll go ahead and get everything folded back up. But field looks nice. Again, this is a huge slope that this field is working on. Can you imagine being in wet conditions on a field like that? It would just destroy it. All right, so we will now go back to the contract. We have completed it. We will press the complete button, and a whole whopping $256 we will get. Space bar to complete. There we go. All of our equipment is now gone. And we're back on our farm. So a little bit of income, but a lot of fun that we had in today's video. Thank you very much for joining me. And who knows what kind of fun we'll find to get into next time here in our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 19.